We're back, yes. So, after going out with my boss and getting probably thoroughly drunk or something like that, seems so long ago now, but those were the days, I went back and did my prospecting and did more calls, more business, more appointments. And then about a week or so later, this lady, she was called Norma, and her husband was called Terry. I called her. And I called her for two reasons. I called her to tell her that very soon I would be coming round with her policy documents because they would be due in my office any day, and I'd like to deliver those and go through them, which of course was a great reason for the two things that I really wanted to do, and that was to upsell her a bit more, perhaps a savings plan for the young kid they'd got, or some more life insurance or a pension, and also to ask them for some referrals. Anyway, a really unusual thing happened when I called her up and said, "Hey Norma, it's Steve, you remember me from XYZ Insurance Company." She said, "Oh Steve, I'm so glad you called." Now, as you can imagine, as a life assurance salesman for a particularly sort of assertive and perhaps a little bit aggressive sales force, that wasn't the kind of thing that I was used to hearing on a frequent basis on the telephone. And so I was absolutely relieved. And I said, "Oh, good, I'm so pleased, Norma. So tell me, what news have you got?" She then told me that 2 days after I had visited them and walked away with the proposal form and cheque, that her husband Terry had left the house on his moped and been involved in a very serious and fatal accident resulting in his death. 2 days later, prior to my visiting Norma and Terry, they had no life assurance whatsoever. They were a lovely, normal, down-to-earth, working-class family with a young child, and she had another one on the way, about 3 or 4 months pregnant, as I remember. And they had no life cover. They had no financial stability. They lived week to week on his wages from working in a factory. You can imagine. So 2 days later, he was dead. The ink was hardly dry on the proposal form, and yet, to make a long story short, the insurance company I worked for paid out the full sum assured of £40,000 to Norma. And I took the cheque round a couple of weeks later after hearing this, and it was what we call a short duration claim, but she was paid £40,000. So here's the dilemma, here's the question, I suppose the conundrum. If I'd been a super ethical salesperson, as we sort of promulgate today, and said, "Yeah, okay, I understand the timing's not right, I'll just finish my tea and go," that would have been it. That guy would still probably have had that fatal accident. That guy would probably still not be any longer be able to provide for his family. And that woman, Norma, would have been a widow with a kid on the way and a small child and no life insurance and no money. So I turned up with 40 grand, which in 1985, whenever it was more than 40 grand's worth now. It was a lot of money. And she gave me more referrals, and we became very good friends for a period of time whilst I was still in that area. But I'd just like you to think about that, because sometimes closing, there's a lot said about closing, but closing is like giving instruction. Think about when you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you an examination and asks you questions and then gives you a prescription. The prescription, in a way, is instruction. It's telling you what to do, when to take it, how to take it, etc. And so therefore, when we close, in a way, it could be perceived as a prescription. This is what you need. Now, these people had no life insurance whatsoever, and I knew that because I'd filled out a little thing called a fact find. So I knew they had no life assurance, and they said, at least you'll have some life cover as well in the interim before you take out your new mortgage. So we have to feel and find where the line is and being too pushy or just being a little bit assertive, because we know that people don't like making decisions. We know people would rather procrastinate and put it off. But had Norma procrastinated and put it off even till next week and thought, you know, that guy Steve was right, we probably should take the endowment policy out now, we haven't got any life cover, it would have been too late. So think about it. Please share this video. I hope you got something out of the story. I'm Steve Q, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.